Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Anjani Gurung, and today I will be presenting on behalf of Kageshwar Sharma, though I'm having a bit of an identity crisis in myself. So, without further ado, so today I will be discussing on a topic that we possibly couldn't have picked up any more difficult one than this one. So we will be doing a little bit of talk about the different stakeholders that are engaged in dog welfare in Nepal, and a few examples of how well and also how difficult it can be. So again, I'm presenting on behalf of Kageshwar, Barbara, and Jim, two over there. So the stakeholders, but before we start with the stakeholders, I would like to speak a little about our organization. So as our announcer has already said, the name of our organization is Himalayan Animal Rescue Trust, and I wouldn't be surprised if you have never heard of it. So we are a small organization based primarily in Pokhara, where we do a lot of CNVR, dog neutering programs. But our work is not limited just in Pokhara. So we've done a lot of neutering camps all over Nepal, and we'll be coming to that. Apart from the dog neutering camps, we also do dog rescues. We provide treatment facilities for street animals, street dogs in particular that have been injured or are sick. We also do school awareness programs for children, also community awareness program for mothers group in order to let them know about dog and how they can protect themselves from dog bites. In the recent years, we've also started a low-cost clinic for adopted and owned pets, because we realize that just taking care of the animals on the streets is not enough. We also have to make sure that even the pets that are inside or companion animals need a little more. So those are some of the things that we are engaged with. It's a group of 15 members, and I think we've all, done our best and are still doing our best. So the primary stakeholders regarding the dog welfare in Nepal, or I think anywhere that in the world, are NGOs and animal lovers, NGOs that have taken on to this grave responsibility that we want to save the animals, and animal lovers who willingly have taken on, again, the responsibility out of compassion and empathy. However, the local authorities have the responsibility to protect the citizens, right? And even though in many cases, the local authorities might not feel that the dog welfare is the primary topic of discussion, they have to. And this is a discussion that we've been doing with a lot of other friends as we're sipping coffee, that how difficult it is to get the government bodies on board with these ideas that we feel are so vital, that are not so vital for them. The main aim of this presentation is to illustrate how NGOs, animal lovers, and local authorities can work together, and how amazing this collaboration can actually be. The public attitudes in the animals have been changing without a doubt. In the past few years that I've worked, I've seen the change in the attitudes. And as we see a more younger generation come through, we've realized that, again, this is in context of Nepal, particularly in Pokhara. I'm not sure the world scenario might be a bit different. And in case of Pokhara, we have seen a bit more responsible owners, people who are willing to take their dogs to the clinic, are worried about the first vaccination for their puppies, and also even government officials who have taken an interest about the rising cases of dog bites or rabies and that sort of areas, which was quite unheard of in the past years. Nepal has nearly 30 million people, and street dog welfare is a big issue, just like many, many other places. Now, a bit of a shocking picture. So this used to be the scenario of dog population management many years back. So in many, many countries all over the world, every time there was a rabies outbreak, every time the locals complained of too many dogs in the area, every time a dog bit a child, the first thing that the authorities did was appoint people to have culling done. And like in many places, this was done in Nepal as well. The scariest part of this picture for me personally is not just the dogs lying on the floor, but is the children watching it, thinking that, oh, how normal this is. The one on the left, on your right, is actually a more recent picture. This was an incident in Kotang, where the local authorities, I believe, had actually ordered dog culling, and they were found to be killing the dogs by beating them to death, right? But thanks to the social media, the video surfaced, and the municipality received a huge backlash, and this was one of the most I feel is one of the most important steps, because then people realize that you cannot do what you want to do. You need to keep up with the rules, you need to keep up with the time, and there's a way to do around things. So after all of this happening, the local authorities carried out poisonings, but it stopped after the National Penal Code Act 2017 came into effect. So now nobody, not even the government authorities, can actually cull the dogs in Nepal. So this is our Pokhara base of HART. You can see on the side, on the left side, those are kennels. The kennels are for the dogs, and we have the fenced area. So this is where we carry out most of our surgical operations as well as rescue and treatment. The rescue and treatment is carried out in 2 phases. We normally go on rounds, on the vehicle, we treat. Our priority is always on-the-spot treatment. But if the animals needs to be brought in, so we bring them to the clinic and then we treat them and we nurse them back to health. However, it is crucial to remember that we are not a shelter. So we unfortunately don't keep them forever, and they are released back to their communities once they recover. So these are some of the places that HART has worked in. The Pokhara and Bharatpur, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention, we have another base in Bharatpur, Sauraha as well. Pokhara and Bharatpur are our 2 major working areas, and we have collaborated with we have 2,000 municipalities all over Nepal, organizing CNVR programs. Now, why CNVR programs? I think this is a question that gets asked a lot in a very general group of people. The rescues and treatments are important, but working in the reducing the number of dogs in the street is even more vital, because then you're working at the core of the problem. Yeah? And there is a big demand for neutering programs, because after the Penal Code Act was implemented, now that the municipalities cannot kill the dogs, and there is a constant pressure from the public in order to manage the dog population management. So the only option that is left, the only scientific option, that option that actually works is neutering. Now, unfortunately, a lot of municipalities do not have the resources. They do not have the vets, they do not have the technicians. Not all the dogs on the streets are going to be very friendly. They need, special carrier vans to carry the dogs. Now, a lot of municipalities do not have these resources, and this is where we come in. So I call it the first place where we collaborate, where the 2 stakeholders, the government and the animal organization, comes in. So these are some of the pictures. It took us quite some time to choose these pictures, because we just had so many of them. On the top, you can see that's Hira, who's catching a dog. Please don't let the picture fool you. It's not that easy all the time. We've been attacked so 4 of our members have been surrounded by 6 of the dogs, and we had to let go of that 1 dog to save our team members. But yeah, so we do the dog catching with the nets. If you see down, so that's from Okuldunga. So a lot of times it's always a surprise to people, because even though the municipalities have failed the urge, the people are still a bit confused about what it is. And a lot of times they see the nets, they think we're going fishing. And they think, how will you catch the small fish? And we tell them we only catch the big ones with 4 legs. So that's the catching down, and people always find it. I think especially children. I have a feeling I don't need the mic. Especially children, so they actually always get very surprised by the fact that there's what is happening. So they always take them by the dogs in the net, and the parents always want us to tell them, please tell them to study, otherwise you're catching the net. And we just swallow the pill, and if you don't study, we'll carry you in the net as well. They get instantly scared. The one over there is also from Okuldunga actually, and this is probably one of the scariest rides I personally have been on, because after this big puddle, there is a point where where there was this big mass that just fell off, and we were like, well, this is it. Luckily it wasn't, but then we made it through. And the child you can see in the picture actually brought the dog all the way up the hill to down just to get the dog neutered. Now, I'm not sure if he brought it because he knew about it. I'm not sure if he brought it because he was supposed to bring it. But this little one actually made an effort to bring the dog down. And when we went back to take the dog, now mind you, this place was nearly 1.5 hours away from where we were hosting the neutering camp. So we actually had to travel more than an hour to get to this village, collect the dogs because there were just so many dogs, and then again bring it back to the neutering center, neuter the dogs, make sure they're all good, they're all recovering from the anesthesia. Again, travel back 1 hour, make sure we explain to people what should be done, the things that they should take care of, and then again travel back because we couldn't stay in the village. So that's from there. And then even when we went back, he made sure that he was like, oh, that's my dog. He knew exactly which his dog was. And I think this is the incidences like this that kind of make us happy and makes us forget all the troubles and all the life-threatening experiences we go through at times. The last one is, as you can see, is in the Himalayas, and we'll be talking about this in a short while. So one of the examples, one of the brilliant examples that we have found when stakeholders come together is in Birkamot. So Birkamot lies in the southern belt, and for some reason we've always found that there's a lot more dogs in the southern belt, in the Tarai region. The first time we did a neutering camp in Kaparvita, I remember there wasn't a single dog that didn't have a scar on it. You know, like some of the dogs, they were just recovering from a wound that clearly was like a hot water wound. They had mange, they were like in a really horrible state. So and I remember thinking to myself that, oh, this is so bad, because we've been in too many camps, but to see that not even a single dog was free of certain kind of wound, I think was truly heartbreaking. This just goes on to say how important it is that neutering programs be done in a massive way so that we make sure that the fate that these dogs have faced should not be passed on to their upcoming other puppies. So in Birkamot, one of the biggest problems that we saw when we first started the work in 2016 was TBT. Might know about TBT, it's transmissible bacterial tumor. It's highly contagious, it's very difficult to treat, and we were shocked to see at how many dogs came with this disease. And it was not just a simple TBT. Me even saying it gets scary. We've seen TBTs with, that's like maybe 500 grams. We have seen TBTs with infected wounds, we've seen TBTs with maggots in them, we've seen everything in Birkamot that we could possibly think that's scary. But after years of working, we were very happy when we saw this number of TBT cases declining. It was not a very rapid decline, but before we could see like every second dog or third dog had it, now the numbers have decreased. So this is what happens since 2016. So that's 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 20, 20. It took us nearly 8 years to get to say that the number of TBD cases are decreasing. Now here the main stakeholders are the municipality, the Birkamot municipality, which has taken the effort to continue this program every year despite the budget cuts, despite other programs being there. Because what we have to know is, it's a bit tricky. In the veterinary section, even though we work with dogs, we understand that the veterinary section has to deal with a lot of other animals, right? And in our context, the dogs do not provide any sort of financial support to the families. So not a lot of people are, inclined to help. For example, a buffalo gets sick, and they will definitely treat it. But if a dog gets sick, there's a very rare chance that that if they're not aware, they don't love the animal enough, they might not take it to the vet. So in that regard, the veterinary section also has to address the issues that the people want. And sometimes dogs will not even be a priority for people. So for them to realize that no, this is a priority, even though people might not think it is, and to take on this effort and continue it, I think is really commendable. In Birkamot, there's actually another group of dog lovers. They actually feed, and they started feeding these animals during COVID. And now they do, apart from the massive nutrient camp that the municipality does, they actually themselves fund and hold a nutrient camp, which this one family particularly neuters 100 dogs themselves. So this is the kind of coming together of the municipality, of the NGO, and of the animal lover, and the collaboration and the benefit is being clearly seen through the decrease in the number of TBD cases. Now, HART's outreach program, another one is Tharan. So we've been working in Tharan since 2013. And in the initial years, in order to encourage the nutrient programs, we had to organize these programs free of cost. But thanks to our stubbornness that we've been able this year, the Tharan Sub-Metropolitan has finally started to chip in, and now they've just started chipping the 50% of the cost, which is a big relief. And apart from the cost itself, the fact that they're acknowledging this as a part of their responsibility is what makes us very happy. And the Everest Trail. So we are not just going south, we also like to go north. Every year, 5 of our most healthiest members, I should say, because it's the Everest trekking trail. So they go to the Everest and they perform nutrient when necessary, but most importantly, vaccination camps, because the municipality has, because it's a massively a tourist area and they cannot afford to have of animals being biting and then these rabies cases. So the municipality realized this importance and started. We've been working with them for over 5 years now. Also, the pilot program in Siddhartha municipality is particularly something that we find very interesting, because this was the first time that the mayor of the municipality actually came to the program hall and watched us do the surgeries, something we've never been seen before. So this is what stands out. This goes on to prove that there are more and more people and more government bodies and also animal lovers taking on to the responsibility. So the overview in here is from the picture where the children could actually see the dogs lying on the street, is to the children taking care of the dogs coming out from the anesthesia. And I think this is the kind of change that we are striving for. We also have an app called Dog Data. If you would like to go, it's called dogdata.uk, where you can find the vaccinations, nutrient programs, and also the dog census done by the collaborating organizations. Let's skip that. So the conclusion here is that engaging the stakeholders is a very difficult job, but when we all come together, we can actually create an impact that is positive and long-lasting. We don't want to be the heroes ourselves. Our main theme has always been that we want the local bodies to be the heroes for the people that we elected to take care of us. We want them to take care of not just the humans, but the non-human counterparts, so that together we can all create a very compassionate society. So that is all. Thank you very much. If you have any questions.
Thank you very much. I also represent Nepal, and I've been also working as a veterinary officer in Kuching, and I'm very happy to see presenting. But I'm much more curious regarding the neutering and spraying campaign in northern belt of Nepal, like you said, Everest Trail. That area or that geography has one of the very rarest and Tibetan, or you can say mastiff species. So is it declining the number of mastiff species rather than by conducting such nutrient programs?
Good question. But what we have to know is that the Tibetan Mastiff is not just focused in just the Lukla area. All the northern belts, you can find a lot of breeds of them. And as I said before, our focus has always been the vaccination camp. So we do nutrient programs where there is a need for it. There's always going to be like certain pockets where there are too many dogs, and certain pockets where the number is reducing. If the number is reducing, we don't need the nutrient camps. But if the number is increasing, because we go there once a year, we have to see how many puppies are going to be there. Are they all going to be taken care of? So it's all about weighing down on the good and the possible side effects. So it all comes down when you weigh down and what seems to be the best way to get forward with it. So we haven't really seen, like completely declining. But as I said before, it's a pockets, and we cannot generalize that as a whole is declining. We probably will have to go through a lot of proper research on that.
And following the question, like, have you accessed the number of female, or like what is the percentage of female?
We actually have the data on that. We're very happy to share with you if you send us an email.